Well, in related news, Home Affairs has also announced that it will be extending its working hours by at least 2 hours this weekend in order to accommodate the IEC's final voter registration drive. And they announced this extension of operating hours for those who still need to collect their identification cards. And for more on this, let's welcome the Deputy Director General of Home Affairs, Mr. Thulani Mavuso. DDG, thank you so much for your time this evening. Tell us more about the extension of those operational hours, particularly for this weekend. Does it include all of your offices across the country?
Good evening, and good evening to SABC viewers. Indeed, just to correct, the 2 hours extension was only applicable to today. We've just closed the offices now at 6 o'clock. We extended the hours from 4 to 6. Then tomorrow and Sunday we'll be operating from 8 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon. And indeed, encouraging those who have not collected their IDs, we have turned 18. As you know, that those who are turning what we call the eligible age of ID, it's 16. So we have about 118,000 of those who turned 16, and some of them are now 18 eligible to vote. To come to our offices to collect all those particular documents because they are the enabling documents for them to be able to register. But not only that, we will be obviously opening all our offices, but also we'll also allowing other services other than collection. But we will definitely be prioritizing collections because we want people to reach their voting station prior to the closing, and also to ensure that they are ready to vote. I think South Africa needs all the young people to go out there and cast their vote. Some of them will be casting it for the first time. But those who have lost documents and they are not collecting, as the Chief Electoral Officer was indicating, we issue temporary ID certificates, which cost about 75 rand. If somebody has lost the document, they want to go and register, will be issued. Those are issued on the spot.
All right, and talk to us about the validity of those TICs, and are they recognized everywhere in South Africa as a formal ID document?
Yes, you recall that if you have lost your document and you still need to transact, so we give you the temporary ID certificate while we say also apply for the permanent replacement. So while you're waiting for yours to be printed, your smart card, then you can still utilize the TIC to transact. It's only valid for 6 months. Obviously, after 6 months, it lapses. But obviously, there are certain institutions who might say, like banking industry, you know, they will take it because they're able to authenticate you metric systems for transactions, but ideally they would prefer for you to come with a smart card. Smart card doesn't take long, as you know that since 2013. Our turnaround time for smart cards has been 13 days.
Maybe just elaborate there, Thulani, on what are some of the documentation that is needed for one to actually come and apply for an identity documents, particularly those that are orphans, or they come from child-headed homes, or those that do not have any form of identification in this country since birth.
So let me then, you're quite correct. We do have South Africans who are undocumented because either their parents have not registered them at the time that they were born. So in most cases, those children, we refer them to a Department of Social Development so that they build a profile, do an investigation about this child and who they come, where they come from, who are their parents, whether they've passed on, they've been abandoned, who are they staying with, and therefore create a profile. On the basis of that, the informant, either in instances, might be a grandmother, might be an uncle or an aunt, or the social worker themselves. So we're able to register those children on the basis of that particular investigation. But where, for example, documents that would have been lost, mothers can't find their birth certificate if the child is registered, we're able to search on the system to find that particular ID number. Because if we don't do that, and we re-register this very same child, this is where you create duplications in this instance. So we try and avoid those particular issues. But also if somebody is coming to office to apply for a document, if they say it's lost or stolen, you need to be able to go to the police and register. They have give a case number. They give you what we call an OB entry. So we bring that because we have to capture that on the system as a supporting document, so that in future, if there's any investigation on that particular ID, we then have a basis to say it was reissued because it was reported at this police station, and this was the affidavit that the individual would have submitted to say that this is what happened to their document. So those are some of the cases that I would, or examples that I could refer to. But there are many scenarios. I think we deal with multiple scenarios when it comes to individuals who are coming. Some of them are extremely unique, where somebody would come approach us, at a very late age, where they have never been registered, either because they was in a farm somewhere, years born there and deprived, legal identity. And then we refer that as a scandal of invisibility, because we don't want people to be born and they live and die without having any legal record of existence. That is something that as South Africa we want to prevent and ensure that we increase our birth registration rate, because the issue of civil and vital statistics is quite important. I think South Africa and Egypt are the only two leading countries in the continent in terms of birth registration. That is why we're also leading a drive of ensuring that all the health facilities in South Africa, where there's a maternity ward, we are able to put a birth registration office, so that when the mother leaves that particular birth or maternity ward, they've actually registered that particular child. Not only that, we are now also starting a project where we are capturing infant footprint. There's a new project that we are busy with, because also in order to secure the legal identity of the child, to say that we must take footprint and capture them on the system, the infants when they are young. So that also protects their identity when they are growing up, so that we prevent identity theft.
Unfortunately, we're out of time. Thank you so much for those contributions there. That is Mr. Thulani Mavuso, the Deputy Director General of Home Affairs, on extended operational hours this weekend in order to allow people to collect their IDs ahead of voter registration weekend. He says it was just today, but as of tomorrow, they will only be operating from 8 to 5 p.m.